Matthews here. And, one of the things that I love to do is interview individuals who are really focused on health because as I'm getting older, I want to know how I can make sure that I can live as long as possible with as least pain as possible. I know that's probably the main thing for a lot of people, but especially for me.
Absolutely.
And so I, I'm interviewing one of my good friends, Brittany Berjarno. And well, she is so awesome to because of our relationship. She's a great person, but she's with Be Fit Naturally, and I trained with her, worked with her, took her nutrition plans. And one of the reasons why I have her on this call today and our video recording today is because I wanted to understand more about how our foods fit into our inflammation and how can foods fight inflammation. So before we go into that, Brittany, tell us a little bit about your background and what your story is, and then we'll go into what foods do you believe will help fight inflation.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for having me on, Kendall. I really do appreciate it. This is for sure my biggest passion in life is to really see others succeed in their health and well-being. And for me, my name again is Brittany Berjarno, and my business is called Be Fit Naturally. So it's spelled a little differently. It's Be-Fit Naturally. And in regards, sorry, my light's going out on here. In regards to that, my history as to the reason why that I got into health and nutrition is simply because of my belief in the body. I believe that the body, and it's proven in science that the body can heal and regenerate itself on a continuous basis. And given that information, we want to do, or I want to do, whatever it is possible for me to, like you said, live as long as I want to live, without the scrutiny of the pain and the so-called aging and inflammation and diseases that can arise in the body. And so for me, I got interested and started with my nutrition business about 10 years ago. 10 years ago is when I started my research and my own personal journey into health and nutrition. And after that, about 6.5 years ago, I got my certification. First in sports nutrition, because that was the big thing at the time, was sports nutrition and personal training. And I did do both. And then decided that really nutrition was my ultimate goal, and really saw how you can't really change the body only through, as far as health goes, and composition and everything else, you can't really change the body just through working out. And if you don't have the support system from the nutrition, you can't get what you want anyway from that standpoint. So combining both is vital to our health and well-being. So I decided to go more towards the nutrition aspect. And 6 years ago is when I started my business. I got my sports nutrition degree. And then after that, I was on my journey to health and well-being, and decided to my husband and I decided to have a baby. So I got pregnant, and afterwards I went through the whole issue of losing weight after childbirth, went through hormonal issues, went through having acne, again, emotional ups and downs. And so I wanted to go back to school to figure out how and why the body changes and how to be able to help my body naturally get back into balance. And at first it was also very discouraging when I asked the doctors, hey, I'd like to do a blood test. How can I get back into balance with my hormones? They said, oh, no, don't worry about it. Give your hormones at least a year. And at about 6 months, I started gaining weight again. And I wasn't doing anything so-called out of the normal. And I was sticking to a lot of the things that I had learned when I did sports nutrition, which was all about fat loss and different supplements to do and things of that nature. So I started implementing that, but I was gaining weight. So that was another exciting thing for me to go back to school and get my certification in pre and postnatal nutrition. And then I also got it for child nutrition because I wanted to know how to feed my son as he was getting older. And so as of right now, I do have a holistic nutrition certification. And all of my schooling has been through Shaw Academy, which has been an awesome school for me to be able to continue my education and ongoing. But yeah, so that's a little bit about me and what I do. And, right now I'm in my 30s, and people say, oh, well, you're so young, you don't have to worry about that. But I look at health as being preventative. And I don't believe that you hit any age and you can't fix something. My belief is that it doesn't matter where you are as far as years go in life, you can achieve what you want, but you have to know what your body is calling for. And I definitely help with that. And Be Fit Naturally is incorporating the foods, the right supplements, the right exercise into your life to really help your body succeed. It's not just a one-size-fits-all diet. So.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's very important. And so, and thank you for that, that background. And one of the questions individuals have had and asked is, what type of foods fight inflammation? So could you give us a background on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's tons of foods out there that fight inflammation. But it's also really finding out where inflammation comes from. And a big source of it is from food. Excuse me. And so you can get inflammation from big things as far as food goes, but you can get inflammation from exercise and stress, not getting enough sleep. All of those aspects also contribute to inflammation in the body. But when it comes to specific foods, I did jot some notes, so I want to read that to you just to make sure that I didn't forget anything. But a lot, if for people who are eating, let's say meat per se, it's very, very important that you do purchase wild-caught and grass-fed meat. Now, through my research, through years of research, and also personal changes in my own lifestyle, I have decided to go full-on plant-based. And plant-based just simply means that I've cut out all dairy products. I've cut out all animal protein, things of that nature. Science has really shown and really proven that having too much protein, specifically animal meat protein, severely causes the body to create too much inflammation. One of them that is a very good distinction to knowing that you have too much, that you're eating too much protein, is what's called gout. And gout is extreme inflammation and pain in the joints, specifically targeting the toes, the big toe. And that means that your body is creating too much uric acid and it's not able to flush it out, which is really damaging to the kidneys. So if you're going to have animal protein, I will recommend having animal protein not on an everyday basis, but maybe 3 to 4 times a week. And I would limit the types of animal protein you have to simply fish, again, it being wild caught, and bison, which is very lean red meat. And the other one would be okay from time to time. I wouldn't always have it from that standpoint, but rabbit is also supposed to be very good from that standpoint.
Oh,
however,
yeah.
I love my rabbit.
Oh, that's perfect, because I really didn't like Bugs Bunny anyway, so I'm all about eating that rabbit.
Yeah. That's hilarious. So as far as big inflammatory foods, dairy is also another one, and they're finding that dairy is causing significant amounts of mucus in the body, and they're finding that mucus is actually what's causing a lot of our inflammation and illnesses in the body today. And dairy is actually not something that's supposed to be consumed by humans, but we've been taught to consume dairy because of calcium, right? We've heard that it creates calcium, it helps to protect our bones. It actually does the opposite. And what I mean by that is when you drink milk or cheese or yogurts that have dairy in them, and we're all told this, and I did it at times as well, but come to find out, when you ingest that dairy, that causes a reaction in your body. So your body goes to town. It starts attacking it because it's foreign and it's extremely acidic. And what it does is it causes what's called acidosis in the blood, which means your blood becomes too acidic. So how does the body balance itself? Because it's so smart, it secretes out calcium from your bones to help alkaline your blood. So now you're actually pulling calcium from your bones, causing arthritis and osteoporosis, which another thing is inflammation, or an after effect of inflammation. And it's now causing that, and now you're losing calcium. So you're not really gaining any benefit from that standpoint of dairy. So dairy is another big proponent to inflammation. So a couple other things when it comes to anti-inflammatory foods would be really increasing your nuts and seeds. Nuts and seeds have tons of good fatty acids in them, oils in them to help get rid of inflammation in the body. Now, you want to make sure that the types of nuts and seeds that you do get are, of course, raw and organic, not roasted. So roasted now changes the composition of the nut to where when it goes into the body, it goes in like a carcinogen, which is cancer-causing and inflammatory. The other thing is to make sure that you're having tons and tons of veggies. We get so used to, people tell me all the time, well, I don't like veggies. But I really find out why they don't like veggies, and it's usually because they don't know how to make them. So I teach people how to make veggies really tasty. You can make them from frozen, you can make them from fresh, whatever's convenient for you. But having veggies really gets the inflammation out of the body. Now, boiling and steaming them are going to be the best ways of cooking the veggies, simply because it doesn't change too long, of course. Too long of steaming or boiling will change the composition of them, but not as much as frying them or putting them in the microwave or things of that nature. So really make sure that you're boiling, steaming your vegetables. Next one is having legumes. Legumes are also very good. Now, people say that legumes have what's called lectins in them, and that is true. And lectins, you do need a certain amount of lectins in the body to help with digestion, but lectins are also can cause inflammatory responses when having too much of that. But lectins is the same thing as far as reaction goes as gluten. And gluten, you can kind of take apart the word and it sounds like glue, which is exactly what it is. And gluten goes into the body and causes major havoc, causes brain inflammation, joint inflammation, gut inflammation. So when it comes to lectins, it can have that same kind of reaction in the body. However, there is proof that you can reduce the amount of lectins when you are eating legumes. You can reduce that by simply doing a pressure cooker, cooking them in a pressure cooker. Or when you cook them, you just want to double boil them. So if you get them out of a BPA-free can, then you just want to boil them for another 2 to 3 minutes, and that helps to, again, kill the lectins and allows you to have better digestion of those types of legumes. The next couple things that I'll go over is healthy fats. Now, we downgrade the having healthy fats because we think, and again, in our society, we've been taught that fats are bad and don't eat fats, right? However, fats are very, very good. And I would actually consider myself to be more of a keto plant-based eater or have more of a keto plant-based lifestyle. And that simply means that I'm having really good fats in my daily intake, as well as all the vegetables in the world. So what does that look like? What are some of the healthy fats? Some of them would be a vegan, what you could find is a vegan DHA and also EPA supplement. Those are great fatty acids in them. They usually come from algae, and algae is amazing for getting rid of inflammation. You can also have evening primrose oil. That's amazing fatty acid. Flaxseed oil, flax seeds. Hemp oil is beautiful when it comes to getting rid of inflammation in the body. And then last but not least, you can also take a look at chia seeds. hemp seeds. Those are all different types of, they're seeds, but they have very, very good fatty acids in them. And last but not least, sea buckthorn oil is very, very good in getting rid of inflammation. So don't downgrade your fatty acids, okay? So they are very, very good, and they do help the body to burn fat. And then last but not least, herbs and spices. Herbs and spices, turmeric, garlic, all these different types of spices are amazing for our body and really helping to get rid of inflammation. And then last but not least, having good sweeteners. So as a plant-based eater, I do have honey at times. Not all the time, but honey is very medicinal. It's great for getting rid of inflammation. It's antibacterial. If you ever get a cut or you have a sore throat, it's amazing for getting that sore throat out or helping to keep that cut clean. And last but not least, water. We got to drink water. Water is so vital. If we're not getting enough water, we're dehydrated, and our body just consumes all of the toxins because it doesn't want to let go of it because you're not able to flush it out. You don't have enough of that water coming through to flush those toxins out. So we downgrade water a lot. We think having teas and coffees and other things are liquidy, but they're dehydrators, and they dehydrate the body, and it's so important to get water in. And coconut water with no added sugar is great as well. So getting those fluids in really helps to get rid of that inflammation as well. So Brittany, I know that was a lot of information.
That's why I can count on you, Brittany, because you always over deliver.
Oh, thank you.
So great. This is great information. And folks, Brittany is a wealth, as you can tell, of information. So Brittany from Be Fit Naturally. And we're going to hopefully have her on again on a couple of different shows as I'm talking to individuals about their health, their lifestyle. And as you heard from Brittany, it's just not one thing. You have to look at your whole person so you can be very successful, not just in business, but in life and family and relationships. Because if you're fighting inflammation, you're fighting pain, mental pain, all these other things that go along with it, that can affect your relationships. So this is very important. And that's why I'm going to make sure that it's a part of the conversations that I'm having with people, not just about business, technology, marketing, but about health and how that is the center point of your life. Because at the end of the day, it's just going to be you on that bed looking up at the ceiling. So
exactly.
But the point that we're going to make as we're going through this life journey is to work together. And that's what Brittany is here for. That's when I'm interviewing Dr. Dennis Clark and others. We're going to make sure that you have the right information that you need to be successful in life. Now, if you want to connect with Brittany, she's going to be in all of our areas because she's a great individual. So make sure you subscribe to the channel that you're listening this on and click on the notifications button so you can make sure that when we have a new video coming out, a new podcast coming out, even a new article, that you're going to get the information that's going to help you be successful in life as you're living through this journey we call everyday life. So let's make it successful. All right, Brittany, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much, Kendall. I really appreciate being on here with you.
We'll talk to everyone soon.